Hi, third grade. For social studies this week, you're going to be picking a founding father and you're going to write about them. Okay? My example is going to be George Washington, so you can't pick him. And if you don't know what a founding father is, you may Google it. But once I explain George Washington, you're probably going to know. So here we go. So my person's George Washington. I want you to, of course, tell me who you picked, their birth date, their birthplace, where they married. So I'm going to just do a little bit. I couldn't fit everything on the dry erase board, but I'll tell you some of the other things that I found interesting. So George Washington was born on February 22nd, 1732 in Westmoreland County, Virginia. The next part was who he married. He married Martha Dandridge in 1759. They lived in Mount Vernon, Virginia, after he was finished being president, of course. He fought in many wars, but it was his success in the Revolutionary War that sealed his fate as being first president. Okay? He was known as the father of his country because of his leadership skills. Now, I didn't have room to fit this, but he died December, I think it was 14th, 1799. And the reason he died, this is what I found interesting, and you can write about this, is he was on his horse checking out his fields, and it was wet. And he didn't want to keep his guests waiting, so he didn't change his clothes. So he got sick because he was in wet clothes and it was cold out. And for days he laid sick, and then they did this thing back in the day, which was called bloodletting, where they took blood out of people to make them better. That didn't work. So after lots of trying, and a doctor performed a procedure that they never did back then, which I don't want to explain to you because it's kind of yucky. He then died, and he waited 3 days. He told him on his deathbed he did not want to be buried for 3 days because he was afraid that he wasn't going to be really dead, and they didn't want him to be buried alive. He was very afraid of that. So those are the two things I found out that were really interesting. One, how he died. And second, three things. Procedure that they did on him. And third, the fact that he did not want to be buried alive. Now, because of his success in the French and Indian War, that's where they found how awesome of a leader he could be. And they made him the leader of when we had the American Revolutionary War. You do not have to add that much information. You just need to give me the basics. The founding fathers are the men that came together and created America and a Constitution of America. He was named father of his country because he was the leader that brought us to have America right now. Now, I've been talking about how King George, I told some of you, how King George in the Boston Tea Party, well, King George was in charge of America when America first became America, and he was taxing everybody, and they didn't like that. So one of the things they did was to protest, and their protest was throwing the tea overboard. Well, King George didn't like that, and because of that, they became the Boston Massacre, which we'll get to in our further readings. So this is what you're going to do today for this week. The whole week you have, I want a beautiful, beautiful thing. Beautiful paragraph, and then for fun, now if I showed you my drawing, you'd laugh. I cannot draw, but try your best to draw a picture of your founding father. Try your best. You can make it however you want, okay? You can cut out little pieces of magazines and try to make a picture. You can trace it. You can blow it up on your screen. You could do a portfolio, whatever you want to do. Just make it creative. And I would like this done on either Google Docs or handwritten for if you're at school, you're going to handwrite it, or on Google Docs. But if you're at home, you can send it to me. Have fun with this. Hope you love it. This is getting us started to try to find people for our wax museum. We're going to just be interested in all different things. Next week, we're going to look at famous women in America. So it's going to be fun. Have fun with this project, guys.